Mbak Ana Patricia, I have a question. So, will you deliver your presentation in this room or not?
No,
Oh no, okay. I thought you entered the room.
later in parallel 4.
Okay. Semangat Mbak Ana.
Thank you, Hannah.
So it's already 10:15. Maybe we can start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to room 1 of parallel session 3 of LLTC 2022. My name is Hannah and I will be the PIC of this room. I will also act as the timekeeper and will be reminding the presenter verbally 2 minutes before the time is up. There is a big change of the rule. So in this parallel session, each team will have 15 minutes to present and the Q&A session will be at the end of all presentation and I will lead the Q&A. Without any further ado, let's begin with the first presentation by Ms. Tria Melania Ginting and Ms. Johanna Venirana from Sanata Dharma University and will be moderated by Ms. Titi Rahayu. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Morning. Okay, so we are going to have an interesting topic from Ms. Tria Melania Ginting and Ms. Johanna Veniranda from Sanata Dharma University, Indonesia. The presentations is women's language features used by the main character Vivian in the Moxie movie. The movie from 2021, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so for the presentations, please you have 15 minutes and then 5 minutes for question and answer sessions. Time is yours, Ms. Tria and Ms. Johanna.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tetik, for the opportunity. Let's me to share. Let me share the screen first. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
But
my
the
voice.
view, but the view is still not in optimum mode.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity. Today I'm going to share my research about women's language features used by the main character Vivian in the Moxie movie. This movie also created in 2021, and then I collaborated with my advisor, Miss Johanna Veniranda, and let's get started. Okay, the next one is a table of contents. In this research or in this presentation, there are 5 parts. The first one is research background and research questions. The second one is theoretical description and framework. And the third one is research methodology. And the fourth one is research results. And the last one, we will discuss about conclusions and also the implications. Okay, so here the research background. So why I conduct this study? As we know, there are many benefits of language. When there are many benefits of the usage language. For example, we can use language to communicate and deliver a message, and then language also help us to interact and socialize with others, and it's used to form social relationship by exchanging ideas, meanings, and also thoughts. Not only that, there is a theory by Warholt 2006 And then he states that individuals' means of using language are influenced by a variety of factors. As we know, in society, the use of language also affected by some factors such as regional, cultural, social, and even gender. We know also the relationship between language and gender. Also, one of some studies in social linguistics. So I conduct this study because we know relationship between language and gender is a part of social linguistics. And then I also found a theory that talks about this study. And then it's from Lakoff in 1973. Okay, so this is a review of related studies. The topic let me find previous studies. And then the first one is women's language features found in female characters' utterances in the Devil Wears Prada movie by Octaviani Natsir and Setiawati in 2017. And then in this study, the researchers found 9 features and did not find hypercorrect grammar. And the second one, the title is an analysis of women's language features used by Mia in the Princess Diaries movie by Murthy in 2018. Also, in this study, she found only 8 features and did not find precise color terms and avoidance of strong swear words. So I believe my analysis than other previous studies will be different. And then research questions. So to formulate this research, there are 2 research questions. The first one is, what are the most commonly used women's language features used by the main character Vivian in the Moxie movie? And the second one, what are the explanation for the reasons of the language features frequently used by the main character Vivian in the Moxie movie? As I have researched or as I have read about this topic, usually the researcher just investigate the first research question. They just found, or they just investigate what are the most commonly used women's language features in what they have investigated. And then they did not they did not add the explanation why it can be frequent features. Okay, and the next one is theoretical description. So in this part, I have 3 parts. The first one is language and gender. I also use GU 2013 as a theory to prove my study. She stated that language and gender cannot be separated in society. The use of language is influenced by people's social roles and also status. In social life, we know that women and men are one entity, but they create and use language to express themselves. And then for the second part, we have women's language. It's by Karjo and Wijaya 2020, that they stated women's use indirect speech in order to be more acceptable. Also, this theory also proven by some theories. If we search, for example, Lakoff's in 1973 also stated that women's language are more indirect. Okay, and then the third one is women's language features. We know the main theory of this study is Lakoff 1973, that she state there are 10 features of women's language. And then in this study also I investigated each feature of 10 features. Okay, so here are the 10 women's language features. The first one is lexical hedges or fillers. And then I put the symbol here. It means that we give a pause when we are speaking. And then the second one is rising intonation on declaratives. And then intensifiers, the word so, very, like that. Attack questions, empty adjectives, precise color terms, hypercorrect grammar, super polite forms, avoidance of strong swear words, and emphatic stress. Okay, and the next one is theoretical framework. How I use the theory to answer the research questions. So for the first research question, I use Lakhov's 1973 to answer what are the most commonly used women's language features in Moxie movie. And then for the explanation, I also collaborated the theories like Lakoff 1973, Jacobson 1960, and also Malabar and Sanketa in 2021 to answer the second research question. Okay, and then the next one is source of data. Like I said before, the data is Moxie movie. This movie is conducted by Ami Purer in 2021. And then this movie talks about a high school student who often sees harassment, sexism at her school. And then she becomes frustrated at the sexist culture at her school. And then she tried to make she tried to make a zine secretly because she is uncertain, she is afraid to voice her aspiration and then to voice her aspiration like that. And then the purpose of making the zine is also to combat the patriarchy, inequality, and also to make others respect to women like that. Okay, so the methods that I used to investigate the study, the researcher used qualitative research because it focuses on one of some concerns in social linguistics, for example, language and gender. And it's also a part of social phenomena. In 2009, Hancock, Ockleford, and Winrich concluded that the main focus of subjective research or qualitative research is to interpret the data and assist the researcher to investigate research problem in social phenomena. I think it could be suitable if I use qualitative research because I want to interpret the meanings, the words in my research study. And then also I use content analysis to investigate this study. And then this is the procedure of how I gather data and how I analyze the data. Maybe I can jump to the next slide. Okay, and then for this, I also have observation sheet to analyze and to gather the data. So I make the observation sheet like this, and then I classify and also I entered the data here. For example, I also put the time so it can make me become easier to find the data. And then I also put the 1500. Okay, thank you. And then also the reasons here, so it can be relevant when I checklist when I put the checklist on the features here. And then this is the features of women's language used by VPN. So I put the total amount here, and also I count the percentage here. So I put the total amount, and then I calculate the total here, and then I also calculate the percentage here. Okay, so after I investigate the data, or after I investigate the movie, I found that there are 191 data or VPN utterances that contain women's language features. And then the most frequent feature was lexical hedges or fillers feature. And then in this study also, the researcher did not find precise color terms because the main character or Vivian herself did not mention any colors. Okay, this is the example of lexical hedges or fillers. Like I said before, lexical hedges or fillers, it means we give a pause when we are speaking because we are not sure, or we are uncertain about what we are going to say. For example, the word or like that. And then the word maybe also as a part of lexical hedges because it can soften the words or the sentences.
Time is up.
Okay, this is the example. Okay. Is the time is up?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, so thank you, Ms. Tia and Ms. Johanna for the presentations. Maybe only two questions first for Ms. Tia. About about the Moxie movie.
I'm sorry, Ms. Titi, we will do the Q&A session at the end of all presentations.
At the end of the
Yes.
presentations.
I will leave later.
Okay,
if you
sorry.
have a question, you may raise your question later.
All right, so that's the presentations for Ms. Tia and Ms. Johanna. And if I can conclude so far, so the language features in the movie, the most used language feature in the movie is lexical hedges, like maybe by the key character Vivian. Okay, so thank you, Ms. Tia and Ms. Johanna, for the interesting presentations. Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Titi and Ms. Tria, and also Ms. Penny for the presentation and for being the moderator. And let's continue to the second presentation by Ms. Herianti Tahang from Universitas Muhammadiyah Sorong and will be moderated by Ms. Tria. Thank you.
Okay, give me a moment first. Okay, so the next presentation will be presented by Miss Titik, right? Or Miss Herianti Tahang?
Ms. Herianti Tahang.
Okay, Miss Herianti Tahang. And then the title of the presentation is EFL Teacher Strategies in Teaching English for Deaf Students in a Special School. And then it's from Universitas Muhammadiyah Sorong, Indonesia. For Miss Herianti Tahang, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. 3i research result entitled EFL teachers strategies in teaching English for deaf students in a special school, or in Indonesia we call it SLB, sekolah luar biasa. Mohon maaf, ini loading sekali nih, jaringan kali. Because of, may I try to close my video?
Yes, sure. Herianti.
Okay, next. The background of this research, first, because English is one of the compulsory lesson also in a special school, and then also, you know that EFL teaching strategies for regular student, of course, is different from EFL teaching strategy for special student, especially deaf students. Research objective, of course, to find out what are the teaching strategies used by the EFL teacher in teaching English for deaf student at Junior Special High School in Kota Sorong. And then the research significance of this research. First, of course, this research result can be used as an input to improve teaching strategies for the student so that the teaching and learning process can run according to the established curriculum. And then the second, this research result provides input as material for consideration in the context of improving the guidance and development of the quantity and the quality of special schools in teaching English for deaf students. About the research methodology, the method used is the descriptive qualitative research, and the participant is English teacher in junior high school, Kota Sorong, because there is only one English teacher. So the participant of this research, one English teacher. And then the data collection method, we use observation and semi-structured interview to gather information about what kind of teaching strategies used by the teacher in teaching English for the deaf students. The data analysis, of course, I use Myers and Huberman data analysis method, data reduction, data display, and drawing conclusion based on the data gathered from observation and interview. Of course, in observation, we use observation checklist, and semi-structured interview, we use some questions as interview guideline. And then the result, based on the data gathered, based on the data analysis done, the teacher used the expository strategy, visual scaffolding strategy, and drilling strategy to guide the student in teaching and learning process, especially in teaching English. And actually, this strategy, teaching English for the student based on the teacher interview, it's quite hard, because they sometimes cannot maximize their time in teaching English, because in achieving the result, the learning outcome, because they need more time to assist them one by one when they couldn't understand, because all of the students couldn't hear properly. So they use mostly visual media, example paper, and then sometimes they make them in a group. After we analyze, it's called expository strategy, visual scaffolding strategy, and drilling strategy. That's my presentation. If you have any question, you may ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Herianti. That's a great ideas. Okay. We have seen here that your ideas is really good. You also investigate the deaf students, and then you also use scaffolding strategy, drilling strategy to guide the students.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. Thank you, Miss Tria and Miss Herianti Tahang for the presentation and for being the moderator. And now let's move to the last presentation, which will be delivered by Miss Titi Rahayu and will be moderated by Miss Herianti Tahang. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for all the audience, especially for the PIC for room 1. And then now we are going to have the last presenter in this session. She is Miss Titi Rahayu, and the members of the researchers, they are Muhyiddin Aziz and Muhammad Farid Maftuh. Okay, Miss Titi will present the research result entitled Communicative Moves in the Discussion section of the EFL Indonesian Vocational College students. Now, without further ado, I'm going to please Miss Titi to present her research result. Time is yours, Miss.
Thank you, Ms. Herianti. Okay. Is my voice clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. So here we, Titi Rahayu, Muhyiddin Aziz, and then Mufarid Maftuh have a topic entitled Communicative Moves in the Discussion Sections of EFL Indonesian's Vocational College Students. Okay, let me adjust first. Okay, so we choose this topic because studies on the move analysis in the various sections of the research article have developed rapidly during 5 years, like the studies did by Amnuai, and then Lee, Rashidi, and Mayhami, Tanko, Tokalo. However, the studies on the communicative moves on the discussion sections, particularly written by vocational college students, are still limited. This current research investigated the communicative move sections and the move cycle series used in the discussion sections. The results may provide significance for the development of writing quality of EFL vocational college students. Knowing the findings on the moves and the cycles may provide a typicality and issues of the discussion development in the context of vocational college. And we have 2 research questions. The first one is, how do the Polytechnic students use the communicative moves in their discussion sections? And then the second question is, how are the move cycle series used in the discussion sections? So there are 2 similar terms here, the communicative moves and also the move cycle series. What are they? I'm going to explain in the next slide. So here is a review of literature related to communicative moves in the discussion sections. Okay, maybe all of you have familiar with the rhetorical moves by Swales, but here I investigated about the communicative moves in the discussion sections. Okay, so here some of the authors propose some structures for developing discussion sections. But I used the revised model from Peacock 2002 for analyzing the discussion sections written by vocational college students. And there are 8 move: background, informations, background informations, and then the second one is findings, and then expected or unexpected outcome, and then reference to previous research, and then explanations, claim, limitations, and recommendations. The last one is recommendations. And then from those communicative moves, we can categorize into 3 move cycle series. The first one is introductions, and it has a pattern that shows moves 1, 2, or 6. And then the second series is evaluations. So it consists of 2 plus 4, 2 plus 6, 3 plus 4, and 3 plus 5. And then the last one is conclusions. So it has a pattern that shows moves 2 plus 6 or 8 plus 6 or 7 plus 8. So here the number refers to the moves that I mentioned before. And for the research method, we have discourse analysis on 15 discussion sections of final project reports. So if maybe you questions about what final project reports, so this is a specific terms that is used for thesis, a kind of thesis developed by diploma students. And then it was conducted in the second semester of the academic year of 2021-2022. And then the research instruments we used, we had notes, tables, and a discussion move. And for the data analysis, we analyzed the 8 communicative moves, including the structures, the frequency, and the distributions of the moves in the discussion sections. And then the second step is the researchers interpreted the move cycles by focusing on the functions of introductions, evaluations, and conclusion. What about the findings? So here are the results for the findings. The highest use move is move 2, and then move 4, and move 1. Okay, so how we interpret the frequency of the moves? Okay, so the common structure of the moves in the discussion sections, they show pattern 1, 4, 2, meaning they have the flow ideas categorized as information move, reference to previous research, and then finding. Okay, and this is the example of the discussion sections commonly found in the final project reports atau tugas akhir in Indonesian. Okay, usually they provide introductions, a kind of showing general knowledge about a particular topic, and then they mention a particular theory that they use in final project report, and then they show the findings, or they connect with their findings in their final project reports. This is the common finding. And then regarding the move cycle series in the students discussion sections, so most of the students use or show introductions and evaluations, but they don't develop ideas related to conclusions that consist of several communicative moves that I mentioned before. For introductions, they use move 1, and then for evaluation, they use move 4 plus 2 or 2 plus 4. Usually, they use theory first, and then showing the findings for developing the ideas in the discussion sections. And the current study showed a high frequency of M4 plus M2, or move 4 plus move 2. However, the previous research from some of researchers, they found that move 2 plus move 4 is more common in research articles. So it's a kind of reverse model of compared with the previous research. And then the current study revealed the move cycles of introductions and evaluations were achieved by the students. However, the conclusions like finding and claim, recommendations and claim, and limitation and claim was not stated in the discussion sections. And the conclusion is move 2, move 4, and move 1 were the top 3 moves occurred in the discussion sections written by vocational college students in final project reports. And then there is a tendency for students to fulfill the rhetorical functions of introduction and evaluations and neglecting about the conclusions, in the discussion sections. And then the suggestions, there are 3 suggestions here. The first one is building the students' awareness towards the rhetorical function is necessary, especially for the lecturers or for the advisors during the process of supervisions for the students' final project report or thesis, for example. And then the issue of the rhetorical functions to achieve the conclusion should be raised in EFL classroom to give an enlightenment and other necessary cycle to be included. Like they have to achieve not only introductions or evaluations, but also show conclusions in the discussion sections like claims or recommendations or some limitations regarding their research. And then it is significant to conduct studies by discussing in depth the citations efforts in the discussion sections. We suggest that the future research investigate the citations, in the discussion sections because it's related to the communicative moves actually in the discussion sections, and it would be interesting and it will be helpful for ELT practices. Okay, so that's all for my presentations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. Titi. You have explained about communication moves in the discussion session of the let's say the thesis of vocational student, university students. Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to please, I'm going to bring back the session to the PIC room 1. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Herianti and Ms. Titik. All right, thank you for all insightful presentations. Let's give applause to us. All right, now we can start the Q&A session. We already have some questions in the chat box. First question is from Mr. Mukarto Pasca. I think this is for Ms. Tria. And the question is, any plan to conduct a similar study, but on the male character? If yes, then probably you can compare the features of female and male speech. It would be more comprehensive. Ms. Tia, have you prepared the answer?
Yes.
Okay, you can answer it now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mukarto, for the great question. Any plan to conduct a similar study, but on the male character? Yes, I have a plan to conduct a study and just investigate the male character and then comparing to the female or women's language features. Because as we know that I read a lot from WhatsApp 2006. He said that men and men have different ways when using language because they have different roles in society. And then in my research also, women's language features talk about women's uncertainty when they use language. And then, however, men use language because they have a power, because they are certain, because they are confident, and then so they will be dominant in speaking like that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Congratulations, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Do you have further questions, sir?
Later.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tria, for answering Pak Mukarto's question. And now we have our second question from Ms. Cita Nuari. Thank you, Ms. Titi. That's and that's an interesting topic. Oh, so this question is for Ms. Titik. How did you identify the moves? Was it done manually? I imagine it would be exhausting because the final reports can be very long. Are you planning to publish this somewhere? I'd like to read the paper. Thank you. Ms. Titik?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gita, for the questions. Thank you for the compliment anyway. Okay, so for my current research, for our current research, we did it manually for the for the analysis of the communicative moves in the discussion sections. That's why we choose only the discussion sections, not the entire of the final project reports, like from the introduction until the conclusions there, because this would be challenging if we choose all the sections. We only choose the discussion sections for the communicative moves. And then maybe may I like show just 1 second about the analysis, Miss?
Yes, please.
Just a second for the form, yeah, the form of the analysis result.
Yes, please.
Wait, oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the complete list, yeah, the complete list of the analysis of the communicative moves. Okay, this one like this. So first, of course, we identified the moves in every discussion sections written by the students, and then we count the frequency of the moves. Also, in the same time, we count for the pattern, for the patterns of the move structures here, not only the frequency of the move individually, but also we count the frequency of the move structures, the flow of the ideas of the communicative moves, and then we categorize into the move cycle series, whether it belongs to introductions, evaluation, or conclusions in the discussion sections. Actually, this kind of research in Indonesia, well, I'm not saying that no research they have dealt with it, but a few of studies dealt with the discussion sections compared with the research in introduction sections or in abstract. Okay, so rarely studies deal with the discussion sections. And then regarding the questions about this publication, so my intentions to publish in this proceeding of LLTC 2022. Okay, I don't know whether it will be chosen in journal or not, yeah, but my intention will publish in the proceeding. Okay, Miss Sita. Hello, Miss Sita. Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Titi and Ms. Chita. Actually, I have a question regarding to Ms. Titi's presentation. So,
Me?
I'm
Okay.
still a student, so I'm wondering. So,
Yes.
how we determine that my discussion part is good? Like there are some moves, right?
Yes.
Do you think? Do you think? What? How to say? Like how to say? How to say? I mean,
how to write, how to develop ideas, how to construct.
Yeah, how to construct,
Yes.
like a good discussion section.
Okay.
What parts do we need to have in our discussion section? I'm sorry, it's a bit complicated, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So actually, well, there are two sections there in thesis, in undergraduate thesis. Commonly, challenging for students. The first one is introduction. The second one is discussion. Okay. Okay. So to construct ideas in the discussion sections. So ideally for the proper development of ideas in the discussion sections, you have to write down 3 move cycles that I mentioned before: introductions, and then evaluations and conclusion. Now for introduction, usually students have understood well about this, yeah. And then for evaluations, also the same, the students have understood well about this. Usually the students show the findings and compare with the existing theories, whether it's the findings support the theories or not, okay, expected or unexpected outcome. And then the missing cycle here is about conclusion. Maybe my suggestion for the easy one is just to show the limitations, I guess, yeah, the limitations of the study. Usually we have, we know the limitation, we know the weaknesses of our research, so we can show that in the discussion sections. Or the weaknesses that you have mentioned, you can elaborate more into like a kind of recommendations for the future research to feel about the research that you have investigated. Okay, something like that. In short, maybe. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Miss Titik Kayu, for answering my question.
Yes, you're welcome.
I thought Pak Mukarto want to say something, Pak. No.
About what?
I don't know.
I
I
just
thought-
enjoy the presentation and learning from the presentation because that is actually not my area of expertise. Thank you, Bu Titi.
All right.
Yes,
thank
you're
you, thank
welcome,
you.
Pak Mukarto. Maybe some suggestions from Pak Mukarto related to my topic.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's not really my area of study of expertise, yeah. So thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Probably, if allowed, I would like to or ask something about the teaching strategies
Yes.
by Miss Herianti Tahang.
Yes, please, sir.
Oh yes, sir.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah masuk
Yeah.
lagi. Oh yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a very interesting teaching deaf students, yeah, especially teaching a foreign language. It must be very challenging. I just would like to know whether the students, although they are deaf or they are but they have a hearing problem, whether they can talk or speak in Bahasa Indonesia.
Yes, sir. Yes, they can. Yes, but it's not truly clear. Let's say the teacher is really amazing, actually, sir. The teacher, because they try to give us understanding. They try to teach in order they can even write even a little bit.
Yeah, teaching hearing impaired students is very challenging. I know that the teacher, I believe, is very well trained. Yeah. So does the teacher what is it? Use strategies a lot related with using visuals in teaching English, in teaching vocabulary?
Yes, visual. Yes, they mostly use that because you know they cannot hear. So you know, a deaf student has a visual, let's say a good visual. When they see, they can have more understanding. When they see the written, when they see That's why the teacher use media also in their her teaching process.
Yeah. And what about the teaching of, for example, interaction between students, like a conversation or what? How did the teacher help the students to be able to interact in English?
Actually, when we do observation,
Hmm?
the teacher, because the student will know each other, one another, they can interact, but yeah, of course, they it's not an interaction such a regular students. So it's really hard, but you know, because the teacher is really a patient person.
Yeah.
When the student couldn't understand or couldn't do anything, they will the teacher will continue to assist them at home. Actually, not only
I see. The connection seems
classroom.
to be not very good.
Yeah.
As far as I know, deaf children communicate with each other very well. They understand each other. Well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's different from us. Yeah, because my youngest brother is also deaf. Yeah? So not everybody can communicate, can understand him well. Even his brothers. Yeah? Only what is it? Only people or his siblings who often interact with him can communicate relatively well. It must be challenging, very challenging, to find out and develop language teaching strategies for deaf students. So my appreciation to you for your study and also for the teacher. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pak Mukarto and Ms. Herianti for the very fruitful discussion. All right, I'll invite other question from other participants. Do you have any question to discuss more? We still have time until 11:15. Oh, maybe if not, I'm wondering, like the conclusion section of Miss Ria Melania's research. I mean, like, because she has not finished the presentation, maybe I want to know the conclusion. Do you mind to show it on, Miss?
Okay, sure. Let me share the screen again. Okay.
Maybe you can explain it briefly, Miss.
Okay. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, but I couldn't jump the screen. Okay. So the conclusion of my research. Okay, so the conclusion of my research here, there are 191 Vivian utterances that contain women's language features, and then there are 52 Vivian utterances categorized in lexical hedges or fillers. And the use of lexical hedges by her was described as a form of her uncertainty, because she is uncertain, or she is not sure what she wants to say next, or what she is talking. And she tended to use lexical hedges to have the best answer when conversing with others. So lexical hedges means we give a pause when we are not uncertain or we are not sure what we are going to talk. For example, the word or well, like that. So we are pausing our speech like that. And then the implication, by exploring the relationship between language and gender, students can deepen their understanding of social linguistics, because language and gender, or the relationship between language and gender, also is one of some studies or some concerns in social linguistics. And then teachers also can emphasize students to learn more about social linguistics from any sources such as movies, videos, articles, and also books. Okay, I think that's all about my presentation and about my conclusion and also implication. Okay, I will go back to the PIC room.
Thank you, Ms. Tia, for sharing. And I think this is the end of our parallel session because the time is so limited. Let's end this. So after this, please kindly leave this breakout room and return to the main room for the plenary session. Thank you very much for the fruitful discussion and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.